All right, everybody. Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 80 of Award Season Review Season 3. 97 reviews coming at you in 97 days, covering many of the films contending for award recognition this season. Now, as many of the films I'm talking about this season may still be in theaters, be awaiting their theatrical release or re release, all of the information I am providing to you is current within 7 days of recording and posting. This includes box office information, critical response, nominations, predictions, wins, and of course, the most important thing, these reviews, as always, are spoiler free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for lots of great award season content, including the Where Can I Watch It Spreadsheet 2024 edition and my daily short videos that are going to predict all of the Oscar nominees and winners. So, we are moving right along in our 12th theme week. And again, before we start to wrap up those last Oscar nominated films and the shorts, I wanted to take a look at some of the films for the first time in 3 years that I've been doing this. I want to look at some of those films that, were so close, but, oh, y'all got snubbed by the Academy. It happens every year. There's always some, it's very subjective, but, challengers, hard truths, Maria, I've reviewed those already, and so why don't we move it right along? And we are in Snub Week. And today I'm looking at Searchlight Pictures' Nightbitch. Written and directed by Marielle Heller, the film is based on a novel of the same name by Rachel Yoder. Released in December of 2024, the film had a very short theatrical run, and in that time, it actually only reported $170,986 internationally, which made up the worldwide take I could find. Now, I know there was a domestic release for this film. I tried to get to it in theaters. I wasn't able to, but I couldn't find the domestic numbers despite my best efforts. Now, critically, the film was rotten on both sides, which could have led to the very short, limited theater release. I mean, originally this film was designed for streamers, but then they put it out in theaters, probably to qualify for the run, so for the award season run. So there we have it. But 210 critic reviews resulted in the film having a score of 59% and a slightly worse popcorn meter score of 47%, coming from over 500 audience reviews. Now, award season wise, there was some, it wasn't massive, but in addition to several critic circle nods or film festival nods and or wins at both, the film was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical for the film's lead, Amy Adams. It was a nominee for Outstanding Achievement in Casting, Big Budget Feature Comedy by the Casting Society of America. And it is currently nominated for 2 Independent Spirit Awards, one for Anne McCabe for Best Editing. I'm going to talk about the editing a little bit later, and Adams again for Best Lead Performance. So, if I keep saying this title, Nightbitch stars Amy Adams as the character named Mother. This is what we know about her. A first-time mother who is adjusting to her new life, raising her 2-year-old son. Well, not that new, it's been 2 years. The former artist has given up her career and identity as an artist, because she's raising their child. And her husband, only named husband, played by Scoot McNairy, is constantly leaving home to travel for work. Feeling alone and isolated over these years, she attempts to socialize with the kind of mommy and me types of groups, playground, book fairs, whatnot, but it's not what she signed up for. And in the midst of all of this, she starts to daydream about her childhood and begins to believe that there is something more, possibly something rooted in her background, this magic. And she becomes fascinated with the possibility that she is becoming canine like, a dog. And in embracing this ability, she actually feels free. Mother begins to adapt these behaviors into everyday life, even having her son act like a dog with her, eating from dog bowls, sleeping in dog beds, and just being feral. The activity for her son allows him to sleep through the night, which in turn allows Mother to do so as well, which was an issue, not really having much sleep. And as these behaviors start to increase, the question of Whether or not she's actually turning into a dog is coming into play as we question this film for whether they're leaning into reality or they're leaning, I mean, not obviously reality. Um, Shapeshifters are not real as far as I know, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer has told us else like. And ultimately when husband comes in to, find out what's going on, well, to say that things take an interesting turn is an understatement, and we can see how this relationship will move beyond the normal that mother and husband have been going through for at least the last 2 years. Motherhood isn't easy, and mother never wanted to feel like she was a single parent, and now that she has, pardon the pun, let the bitch out, and freedom is felt, nothing will be the same for this family again. This film is really an interesting metaphor for motherhood. All the elements are clear, and maybe it's odd for me to be speaking about this because clearly I am not a mother, I am not a parent, but I do have a lot of friends who are, and I talked about this film with them, and they have opened up with me about some of the experiences they've had, and a lot of the things that happen here do ring true. Sadly, the internal struggles and potential depression that one suffers are fully on display here, and even in an early sequence, we get a little bit of insight into Mother's psyche. Perhaps this is a downfall to the story as we don't get to enjoy the ride into deep descent as much because that might have strengthened the narrative. In fact, that's my biggest criticism for the film. There are several films that I've spoken about this season that have felt overstuffed and crammed with too much. Here, it's the opposite. We don't have a million subplots. We have a primary one that is really, really fascinating. And oftentimes the film is more tell us than show us in a roughly short 90 minutes. This film needed another like 10 to 15 minutes to really explore these sequences and this alternate life that Mother is experiencing, as opposed to just kind of getting information dumps. I think we would have been more interested to see some of this on screen. That being said, Adams is in top form as per usual, has no problems getting into the modes of this character, and seeing her lean into this feral character was quite an entertaining thing to see. McNary is an interesting counterpart to her as husband. He says and does, for the most part, all the right things as he can, but it isn't always enough. And, when he has to step up, he makes you feel the struggle that he's going through. And, you know, I think this film was a little more honest than it was accepted. And I have to say, the editing, I said I would come back to it. The editing for this film is on point. I especially like the way we have these great montages that show daily routine and what happens sometimes with what these types of cycles can do. And leading into that madness. Again, I just wish the film would have gone a little bit deeper. But there are some really excellent, powerful themes in here that needed to be explored. Now, as for snubs, many felt that Adams was deserving to enter the conversation for her role. If I'm being honest, as I said yesterday, I would agree with this because there are a couple of nominees in the lead actress race that I would gladly swap out. I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to create too much controversy. So, hats off to the BAFTAs for recognizing this award's delight. Adams was longlisted for leading actress. Heller was longlisted for adapted screenplay. Given the screenplay, I'm not surprised that that one didn't win. Pardon the pun, this script needed to bake a little more. But Adams was a little bit of a snub for me. And look, the film, it's definitely worth a watch. Nightbitch is a solid 3-star film. Excellent performances, laughable moments, and a wonderful vehicle for Adams to stretch herself. So if you would like to catch this one, the film is currently streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. All right. So there we go. 80 films down and only 17 reviews left to go. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that subscribe button, like and share the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional information on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right. See everyone tomorrow as we continue through Snub Week. And until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.